Hey.
Agony Logan James on YouTube. Yeah, it's a really good match.
Yeah. I need to watch that.
I will be cheating and pick that as my pick for next week's episode.
Yeah, so I
Even
will
though
definitely watch
yes,
that
you will
match.
have to watch it. I did post the highlights, so you have at least the highlights to go off of.
Ah, happy holidays. I hope y'all got your gifts.
Walang gift.
Yeah,
Walang gift. I'm gifting myself shit.
but I bought myself a lot of shit this year.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually, me too.
ganyan tayo mga
I mean, bigla,
independent
bigla,
men.
ang, bigla, ang, bigla ang budol.
Kala ko biglang
yeah,
lit.
like yeah. Earlier, right? Ro knows this. Earlier, right? I posted a link, and then sobrang ano eh, sobrang napakagat ako dun sa discount eh. So
Is
What
this
up,
yung
Doc G?
pinag-uusapan nating anta kagabi, Emil?
yes, I actually have two now on the way, which I never did before.
Hindi, okay lang yan. You getting bonuses in dollars, so
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pera ka naman,
That's the
Emil
reason
eh.
why.
So, kailan ka na magpapakain, Emil Nate?
so
I mean,
makakaasa ba tayo na next year yung birthday mo sa Jollibee?
Mm.
oh yeah, planning to do that. Yeah, let's see.
Ikaw ba yung never pa nakaranas nun?
No, never. Not in
Well,
my
to be fair,
life.
ako rin, I was never given a Jollibee or McDo birthday party.
God
Yeah.
I mean, I would go to them all the time, but you know,
I think I went to what two parties na ganun, when I was a kid, but I never had something
uh,
like that. Yeah.
good evening, Ina. Thank
Hello,
you.
Ina.
Thank you for the pagbate.
Oh. Suck it, Emil!
Hey,
If
I'm
you
fine
got to
with it.
sit down and have a drink and a conversation about wrestling, well, I kind of do this all the time.
Yeah. Actually, Stan, Rowe, and Chino. Those are the three people I would
No, I
talk
mean,
wrestling with.
if you had the choice of three people in the world and you choose
Emil,
us to talk
your
about
bar is so
wrestling,
low. Dude,
oh,
I would choose Paul Heyman right off the bat. And
oh,
I'd bring Eddie Guerrero back from the dead.
oh.
And up in the air kung sino yung third. Doon pala, masaya na ako eh.
Pero salamat as if hindi tayo nag-uusap about wrestling every week, na?
Uh, sige, anyone else?
Hindi,
Probably.
ito. Di ba straight edge ka?
Yeah, straight edge.
So, like CM Punk did for Harley Race, which wrestling personality would get you to break your straight edge rules and have a drink with them?
Yeah, Triple H with me. Also, who else? Someone I can learn a lot from the wrestling. Paul
Alam ko na,
Heyman as
Emil.
well.
Yung third mo, si Eddie Thorpe.
Baka mag-away lang ako.
No, I have the perfect third person for Emil. Alam ka na.
Ooh.
You will have a drink and chat about wrestling with the Eric Tai.
Oh my God.
Sabihin mo sa kanya, patay na si Eddie.
Oh, i-update mo siya. Wala nang naguhubad sa wrestling ngayon. Kami, iniisip niya, marami pa rin naguhubaran sa wrestling. Bawal na yun, sir.
Dino, one half of the Tam Twins. What's up?
What up,
What's up,
Tindo?
Dindo?
D Prime, hello as well. Si Glendale, sagot niya si Cornette, si Russo, at si Meltzer. Okay. Gusto mo na away ata Glendale, ah.
Clearly. What's up, Nico? Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Nico? Advance Merry Christmas.
I'm the best wrestler in the world. My name is Collar Cash Money Cannon.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
What do we want to talk about?
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Because mommy is always on top.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
I'm home.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
To say his name.
Say his name and he appeared.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov.
It's LA Knight's game. Yeah.
She's on me, bitch.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
You have a father, but your father's dead.
G'day everyone, TMDK Sniper of the Skies, Robbie Eagles here.
And you're listening.
And you're listening
You're listening to the Wrestling Podcast. And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
I love you, Solo. I love you, Solo. I love you, Solo.
You are watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stancy, Romoran, and Emil Nate checking in and welcoming you to episode 900 of the pod.
900
episodes. Oh, 900 episodes. Man, thank you so much for supporting the pod and keeping us with you all this time na nakaabot kami ng 900 episodes, which is way longer than we ever thought we would actually make it. It's also way longer than a lot of podcasts that started in the pandemic era. So suck it, pandemic podcasters. So, yeah. Really great to be here with everyone here, especially as we close out 2024, second to the last live stream natin to. So, hope everyone is having a great time. Kami ni Ro and Emil, we've been having a fun time catching up before we go live and talk to everyone. So, let's start with yung mga plugs natin. We have a lot to remind you of. So, first plug, if you can leave a comment or a 5-star rating for the pod, especially after episode 900, we would appreciate it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, another way you can support the pod is by subscribing to Patreon and Gank. Take it away, Emil.
All right, so you can subscribe to either Patreon or Gank with the links right there below, patreon.com/wrestling podcast, ganknow.com/wrestling2xpod for only $5. So murang-mura lang, di ba? So, pabaunin nyo kami ng mga Christmas bonuses ninyo. if you want to support us and appreciate what we do here, so you'll get benefit.
Hindi na umabot si Tita Mercy sa Christmas bonus eh.
Oh my God.
Rest in peace.
So the perks, of course, Discord server, weekly wrestling reviews, discounts sa mga pasabays, special access sa mga viewing parties. The patrons have their own table in there. So again, plus marami pang perks and benefits. And also by subscribing, you're supporting the podcast through 900 episodes. So going strong palagi. Going into its 11th year.
11.
Sorry. That's the links
You're
are right there
fired.
below. The links are right there below. Patreon.com/wrestling podcast and ganknow.com/wrestling2xpod.
Hey, just to add pala. Oh, wala. I mean literally. But Patreon lets you gift a subscription to other people.
Yeah.
So if you are a subscriber to Patreon, or if you wanna help someone support us and see what the community is all about, pwede na kayo mamigay ng subscription. Just go to patreon.com. It's going to be there in your home screen. You can gift them a $5 subscription, and it doesn't even have to be a long-term one. And just so they can see what being in our friendship circle, our inner circle, if you will, is all about. And it's a lot of fun. So much fun that some people have found their community among us. So to those of you who have supported us this year and will continue to do so, whether it's for another 12 months or at least 1 or 3 months or so, okay lang yan. We really, really appreciate the support you've lent us.
Yeah, sobrang fun ng mga patrons namin. Meron kaming banker, meron kaming customer service ng Globe, meron kaming nagiging babae pag 11 p.m. So we really have a cast of characters dito sa patron community ng Wrestling Podcast. All right, you heard it last week from Netflix PH. WWE on Netflix is officially happening in the Philippines. So, Ro, let them know how they can enhance their internet and Netflix experience.
Yeah, WWE kicked off their Netflix partnership with an event this morning, Manila time. And syempre, kasali tayo dyan. We will have WWE content on Netflix. As to what extent, we're yet to find out. But it will be on Netflix. And Converge is making it a lot easier to get a Netflix subscription with the Converge plus Netflix bundle. So you can get it as cheap as 1798, and that comes with Netflix Basic, and yung Fiverr plan goes all the way up to 300 Mbps, all the way to 2298 with Netflix Premium. And the same stuff. And there's a box, the Converge Experience box, that acts as a Google Android TV box for all the content you could ever have. So kung wala pa kayong Google TV, Android TV, or a Chromecast or the like, this is the way in. And mine is already on the way. Mine is still on the way. I've been saying this for weeks now, but marami yata nag-order kaya wala pa sa akin eh. So I'm eagerly awaiting for my my bundled in Netflix subscription, because it means that by January 6, good to go na. I can watch live should I want to watch it live on Netflix. And sana walang buffering issues. So yun, go check that out. Go fiber.ph or just email Converge and apply for a plan or up to an upgrade to a plan. And they'll get to you right away.
All right, so all this talk about Netflix leads us to start with the Netflix kickoff event na nangyari kanina habang tulog tayo. And we got to talk about Kevin Owens and his role in that event. So nagpakita siya with the Winged Eagle Championship that Cody Rhodes held as he made his way into Saturday night's main event. And now he's calling himself the real WWE champion. Like CM Punk once did some 13 years ago. Kasi, diba, we all saw what happened. Cody hit KO with the crossroads on the steel chair. So, dinidispute ni Kevin Owens na hindi makatarungan yon. Kaya siya raw yung tunay na WWE champion.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's funny. It's funny that I don't know if sinasadya ni Kevin Owens to play it up for laughs, if he's, wearing a tuxedo wife beater to play it up for laughs, and using the Winged Eagle Championship, which is obviously a replica at this point. Kasi kita mo yung ano niya, yung pag yung sa strap. But I like it. Yes, it's being played up for comedic value because syempre Kevin Owens is the heel, but again, like we said on the Weekend Reacts, I think there's more to this than meets the eye. Like if you're painting Cody Rhodes as possibly an asshole for doing what he did, for winning the way that he did, I feel like there is a double turn coming. And Kevin Owens making himself entertaining, I think, is also indicative of a double turn na posible mangyari.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is what I was envisioning after nung ending nung Saturday night's main event, especially when Kevin Owens walked out with the belt. Okay, so he's gonna come out in the next few weeks with that belt, proclaiming himself as the champion. Kasi yun nga, he's justifying na he's the real winner of that match. Like he's the real champion. So plus with Cody being out, I like what they're doing here. They're cooking something here. And his Twitter jabs has been funny. And the thing that he said at the end of this segment right here, I have the best moveset, which clearly was pot shot at
Hangman Page. And at CM Punk. It's
CM Punk, yeah. So he's killing it in this role, honestly. This is like the KO that I saw years ago, the 2015 Kevin Owens na talagang he's one of the best heels in the business talaga.
Mm-hmm. Say what's up to fintech executive extraordinaire Jeff Gonzalez in the comment section.
Hey Jeff.
Yan, future
Hello.
sponsor yan ng Puso Wrestling.
Wow.
Thanks for joining us, man. Another big thing that happened nung Netflix kickoff kanina is Logan Paul announcing that he's now part of the Raw roster. So he's been part of SmackDown for the longest time, and now he's moving over to the brand that is officially on Netflix in the US.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't being punished for, being a dick. So wala. I don't know if you like this, and it clearly says a lot about you, diba? If you're still excited to see Logan Paul wrestle after the events of the last election seasons in the US. So I don't have thoughts on it. Like, yes, I know he's gonna be there, he's gonna entertain people, but I'm not really excited to see Logan Paul anymore. I think the experiment is done, and I think beyond being a heel, I don't think there's much for him to contribute to add. There's not much value for him to add to the WWE programming anymore.
Yeah, of course, syempre Netflix so they probably want Logan Paul in there because he gets views, diba? But aside from that, yeah, he's just there. And it's not like he's gonna be there every week as well. Like, he's just gonna be there for the big PLEs, and I'm okay with that rather than him being there weekly, honestly.
I mean, sucks to be you, Emil, because we have big PLEs coming up in the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. So he's going to be there for the first quarter of 2025.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine, I guess.
All right. All right, let's move to Monday Night Raw and talk about CM Punk and Seth freaking Rollins. It is official. Yan na, magtutuos na sila. And somebody reported na this will be the main event. Although I'm not sure, kasi diba, when you have Tribal Combat, Roman versus Solo, and then Punk versus Rollins, it's essentially a double main event.
I don't know. It depends. Who do you like more? Like last time, they didn't go with CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre as the main event. So, I don't know. Does Roman Reigns still hold default main event status? Does CM Punk also hold that same status? I think they both do. And but either way, has anyone noticed that Punk is sounding more like a dick again? Like, I get that that's what people want him to be, but I think mas kupal siya versus Seth than he was versus Drew, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do notice that as well. He's sounding kind of heelish, and I think that's what they're going for. So instead of just turning Seth heel, which I thought that was originally what they're gonna do, they're gonna make this thing, like yung Shades of Grey, yung tinatawag nga na. Both guys can be assholes, and they're fighting each other. Pagdating sa main event, I feel like this should main event rather than the Tribal Combat one, because first of all, that one is a SmackDown story. So bakit sila nandito sa Raw, diba?
Sure.
They're both SmackDown guys. So I wouldn't give.
Di mo sure, baka after the transfer window, hindi na.
Yeah, there's still like there's still 2 weeks, diba? But still, like this is the best story going on Raw since since after the Survivor Series. So this should be the main event.
Ro, going back to what you said, na Punk is sounding more heelish. What's it gonna take to entrench him as the heel of the story when heading in, it looked like si Seth yun?
I don't know. I guess Seth made good points, and it's not like Seth. It wasn't like Drew. And Drew was acting like a psychopath, pun not intended. Whereas Seth was kind of garnering sympathy with his own sob story about Punk. Tapos si Punk kukupanin ka lang niya na diba? Na hindi ka ka-level ko, diba? So deserve mo maging kasama dun sa mga fans, like with the marks, if you will. So that doesn't sound like a good guy. Like, yeah, people will cheer it because people love Punk and people will like anything he has to say, but in a vacuum, doesn't sound like a good guy to me. Sounds like a dude who's little broing Seth Rollins. And I don't think also that they're trying to entrench Seth as a heel, because otherwise they wouldn't have been making him say the things about being Punk's friend nung time na yun, nung 10 years ago, right? Yeah. So it's strange. I think these things aren't much of an accident if you look at it. So maybe they are just having Punk lean into being a dick, and then syempre alam nila na i-cheer pa rin siya kahit papano.
Yeah, at this point, CM Punk can say do whatever he wants. He's gonna get cheered more than Seth Rollins at this point.
All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will be playing Nathan with Emil Nate. Dami na naman paot ni Emil. Lalabas natin yan. But first, let's hear from our other kapodcasts right here on the Pod Network.
Oh, it's time. It is time for the segment, the newest sensation that has graced the Wrestling Podcast live stream. Once again, friends, Emil Nate, the Filipino Nightmare, has things he wants to get off his chest. So not joining, you're already here, but for another episode of Playing Nate with Emil Nate, this week, Emil Nate goes up against the entire Raw locker room. Why, Emil Nate?
All right, here's the thing, right? I don't like what the New Day did to Biggie.
Let's talk about what they did first.
Yeah, so nung Raw, they aired a segment in which Kofi and Xavier Woods, syempre, kakadating lang nila sa building, di ba? So obviously they're gonna go into the locker room, and suddenly this supposedly locker room leader. I don't know who made you the locker room leader.
So wait, you and I spent an entire episode last Monday, talking about Ray as a Lucha Libre legend, and then you're gonna question his credentials as a locker room leader.
As a locker room leader, as a wrestler, okay, andun na yun eh. Andun na lahat yun eh. Nilatag na natin yun eh. But who made you the locker room leader, Ray?
God damn.
And then Rey Mysterio came out and said, in behalf of the locker room, now you're not allowed to be here. Which I immediately questioned as to why. Why are they not allowed in the locker room? What have they done? Yes, okay. Nakita natin yun a week ago. They did something to Big E. They dismissed Big E. They did all of that. But that's not the worst thing that you could do to get kicked out of a locker room. There are other wrestlers on the Raw roster that has done worse over the last couple of years, and they are not kicked out of the locker room. Or at least we haven't seen them get kicked out of the locker room.
I have a question.
So, go.
I have a question. Is getting fried chicken crumbs all over someone else's bag worse than ending a friendship of more than 10 years?
No. Kasi yun, lang yun eh. Kumakain lang siya dun eh. And for some reason, napagtripan si Miz na rin. Doon kasi, I feel like back then, they really had it for Miz. So they were like trying to find faults so that they could kick him out of the locker room. But this one, again, there are other heels that have done worse, and I feel like they should have suffered the same thing. Basta ang ano ko lang dito is,
sila may puso para kay Big E eh, kay face kay heel. So nag-agree silang lahat doon, oh.
Come on. No. That's it. This is the first injustice that was done to the New Day ever since turning heel. Like, yes, I didn't like what they did to Big E. But this is a little bit too far. It's their right. It's their right as WWE contracted superstars to dress in the same locker room as other WWE superstars.
All right, so
who has the power? No one has the power.
Paano Emil? Ilan na bang WWE contract mo?
May nakita ka na ba? May nabasa ka na bang kontrata? Ito. Okay, so if what Kofi and Woods did was not enough to get them kicked out of the locker room. If there are
that's what I'm
worse,
saying.
if you say that there are worse injustices or worse crimes that deserve expulsion from the locker room, who in the current Raw roster could be kicked out of the locker room according to the Emil Nate standard of locker room behavior?
50% of the locker room.
Sino? Give
honestly.
me an
Oh,
example.
sino?
I want to know.
Pangalanan
I want to know
mo.
your standards.
Drew McIntyre, for example. Drew McIntyre.
Anong ginawa ni Drew McIntyre?
He assaulted Jey Uso. He assaulted CM Punk so many times before. He sent CM Punk in a hospital way too many times before, and we're not seeing him get kicked out of the locker room.
Malay mo, meron
Yeah.
siyang private locker rooms, hindi niya talaga kailangan. Oh. Ano
Let's
na?
just assume that he shares locker room because wala namang pinakitang segment na may sarili siyang locker room, di ba?
Ito, Emil. Yung logic mo kanina, nobody elected Rey Mysterio, di ba, sabi mo, to be locker room leader. But he has more Hall of Fame rings than virtually the entire active roster as we speak.
Ito, Emil. Meron akong example. Does Triple H deserve to be in the locker room after Katie Vick?
No. Actually, we'll say after Triple H has done dastardly things back in the day. Now I don't. In my mind, in my logic, he has his own locker room because he's not going to be welcomed in that locker room.
Sabagay, there have been a lot of segments backstage. No? They have their own. The Triple H does have his own locker room.
Alright, paano si Randy Orton, Emil?
Oh, tumatay sa bagyo, di ba? Yung pa. Does he deserve to be in the locker room?
I just assume that the very evil heels have their own space because in my kayfabe mind, they cannot be with the other superstars.
Okay, so that kind of answers your question though. So if you are an asshole,
but I don't.
Therefore,
think I don't think it was warranted for them to get kicked out.
Hindi. You said that heels should have their own locker room because they're dicks. So now that the New Day are dicks, they don't deserve to be in the same locker room as the babyfaces. Maybe Rey Mysterio was kicking them out of the babyface locker room.
They haven't done anything to deserve to get kicked out.
So okay,
that's what I'm saying. They just dismissed a friend, but they haven't done a dick move as of yet.
Talaga, di pa dick move yung ginawa nila kay Big E na they publicly rebuked him tapos sinabi ni Kofi, you broke your neck, so what? That's not a dick move?
Hindi
really?
dick move, but something like a super evil heel would have done. That I thought is warranted for you to get.
Okay, so
that's what I'm saying. Yun lang.
So maybe it didn't occur to you that the locker room leader in Rey Mysterio found it so appalling that two guys who used to embody the spirit of friendship and positivity would turn on their friend like that so callously, and maybe that's why they deserve to be kicked out of a locker room that fosters the idea of brotherhood and fraternity. Baka yun yung yung puntong gustong iparating ni Rey Mysterio, no?
If I was Rey, and that's what I observed, I would try muna na kausapin sila, and then if talagang wala, kick out.
But you're not, Emil. You're not Rey Mysterio. That's why you're here.
That's why I'm mad at
like
Rey.
Eddie Thorpe.
That's why I'm mad at Rey. Like who made you the guy to decide that?
Baka ikaw pala yung hinahanap nilang third man ng bagong New Day. New Day.
That's basically my argument. Like I don't think they have done anything that warrants them to get kicked out of the locker. And it was unfair to the New Day na ganun na sila trinato ni Rey Mysterio. Out of all people, the nicest guy in the world.
Okay, but what if the New Day ends up getting a better locker room because of this? What if they get a clubhouse like the Judgment Day?
Good for the New Day.
Oh, di deserve na ma-kick out nga.
Hindi nga. Pero good for them if they get their own locker room. Because they've been, there was an injustice done on Raw by one Rey Mysterio.
I think the bigger injustice is if they end up having to use a broom closet as their locker room, but which we haven't seen. Which diba, they were looking in Raw, they were looking for a new locker room, but di pa sila umabot sa level na yan.
Yeah, pero sabi ni Woods diba na hindi, kukuha na lang kami ng sarili naming locker room. So
yun na nga diba? At least hindi sila na sa janitor's closet, diba?
That would have been bad. But yeah, like with locker rooms and things, like who really decides? Like who really
Clearly
decides?
ikaw, kasi ikaw yung pinaka mainit yung dugo
Oo.
about it eh.
Mas may authority ka pala kaysa kay Rey Mysterio.
Oo.
Who has a 30-year career, mind you.
And is a Hall of Famer.
I mean,
How many Hall of Fame rings do you have, Emil Nate?
Again, it's just unfair, is what I'm saying.
Well, life's not fair. Too bad.
Ray should have known better than that.
I wish y'all could see Jasper's comments in backstage.
Oh, nga.
Even he isn't buying your shit.
Jasper is losing his mind, and he's usually even keeled. All right, let's go back to Raw and talk about this teaser, this very unusual teaser na nag-flash for all of 20 or 30 seconds. Any guesses, or are we all thinking of the same madman?
I guess. I mean, what else is it? Is it either a
Shackle
zero
daw.
or the Dutch O, the Danish
Yung
O
logo
pala,
daw
sorry.
yan ng shackle, sabi nila.
Sino mga tito na nakakagets na?
Pang titulo ba yun?
Oh, gago.
Even I know what that band is. At this point, yeah, I think it's sino pa ba yung hinintay natin na bumalik or mag-debut? Like it has to be Penta. It has to be Penta at this point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Pang tito yung shackle. I was listening to Bakit Ba in the 90s when I was a child, dude. And I am a tito now.
We have been called Unk at our events, Emil Nate.
Oh, wow.
Okay, moving on. Let's congratulate the War Raiders, Eric and Ivar. They have regained the World Tag Team Championship for the first time since 2020. They defeated Finn Balor and JD McDonough nung main event ng Monday Night Raw. And I mean, this is like the headline, but underneath that, yeah, tension again within the Judgment Day, diba? With Finn saying na if you listen to Finn, we win. Tapos si Liv, napaka-sarcastic niya. Parang, oh, alam mo naman ginagawa mo, diba? Oh, we listen to Finn, we win. So, next week, there's bound to be more sass from Liv Morgan towards Finn.
It's just weird that they form a new lineup of the Judgment Day tapos iwawatak-watakin pa rin pala nila. Like, okay. So much for friendship, I guess. But again, it's a collection of heels. So I guess you don't necessarily, foster brotherhood with guys like friends like those, diba? But anyway, hey, congrats to the War Raiders. I think they finally moved the tag team championship forward because it has been stuck with the Judgment Day for a long time now, and I guess if it had to reach the level of having another Judgment Day breakup so soon after the last one, then I guess that's what it took.
Yeah, congrats again to the War Raiders. Well deserved. Also agreed. I'm glad that the tag team titles are now out of the Judgment Day because they haven't done anything with it ever since winning the titles a few months ago. With the Judgment Day thing, I'm okay with them breaking up now. Like, it's just not the same. Like the core, for me, the best version of the Judgment Day are Finn, Damien, Rhea, and Dom, and you could maybe include JD in there. But after the breakup,
Edge, Damien Priest, Rhea Ripley.
Oh jeez.
But yeah, it's just at this saka when they formed the new Judgment Day, I could never feel them as a group. Na parang they were just aligned because they were feuding with Rhea and Damien. But yeah, might as well do it now. Medyo nagsawa na rin yung mga tao sa Judgment Day, and it's time to move on. Do separate things. Finn can go back to being a babyface, hopefully. And yeah.
Really? After everything Finn has done, you're like, oh yeah, it's time for you to be a babyface.
Ito, Emil. Does Finn get to stay in the locker room?
Pag nabuwag na, di ba? He's gonna have to earn that. He's gonna have to earn that.
So, Jeff has a good point here. I think they are breaking up the Judgment Day because the New Day is the new Judgment Day in regards to Heat, diba? So that actually makes sense.
Yeah. Congrats to the War Raiders again. Individually, si Eric kapapanganak lang nung second kid niya. Si Ivar, they were in his hometown, diba? He's a Boston guy, New England guy. So for him to win it in Boston, huge, huge victory for these guys. So great stuff. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, more highlights from Raw and from NXT. We'll also talk about Emil Nate's favorite NXT superstar, Eddie Thorpe, after this break. So let's hear from our other podcasts right here on the Pod Network. Still sticking to Monday Night Raw, one of the things that caught my eye was this backstage vignette between The Miz and the Final Testament. Nasabi ni Miz, okay na tayo ha, naupakan na natin yung Wyatt 6, bye-bye. And then Karen Cross is like, this doesn't end until we say it's over. So, what do you think about this? Na parang natrap bigla si Miz and pati yung AOP na patanong sila kay Karen Cross na, di ba napasubo to si Miz?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I actually feel bad for the AOP because they're not really doing much. Although I guess they're getting the WWE paycheck, which they have missed nung pandemic. But I don't know. The Miz thing was working, I guess. That's why they wanted to... I guess the feud with the Wyatt 6 isn't really over if I know. Or, even if it isn't over, the Miz gets to explore another side of him. So I guess it's a win-win. I don't know. I'm still not like fully 100% into the Final Testament, but I guess the Miz is rubbing off on them.
Yeah, the Miz, he's having a good vibes na pinabasa dito sa Final Testament, honestly. Like, now I'm interested in this story kasi, it's Miz trying to get out, but the Final Testament just wouldn't let him kasi they've been having success with Miz, with Miz aligned with him. So, does this lead to Miz going back to being babyface? So we're gonna find out and see.
Leave it to Buezi with an excellent pun this week. Miz became the author of his own pain. Yeah, that's actually correct. So yeah, gusto ko yung pinaramdam ni Karrion Kross na para siyang leader ng sindikato, 'di ba? Na hindi kita paalisin ng basta-basta.
Yeah. Like kasi kumita ka na sa amin So, hindi ka makalabas ng basta-basta. Parang ganun vibes
All right, last bit from Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about the women. Kairi Sane might be out of the Intercontinental Championship tournament after Pure Fusion Collective attacked her backstage.
Why is this a whodunit? They were seen escaping the crime scene. They were seen fleeing the crime scene. So we know who done it. So, it's the PFC asserting themselves. Sorry. So, hey. I don't hate it. I think the Raw Women's Division is deep, naman, and I think it just kind of sucks, I guess, that Kairi Sane had to be the sacrificial lamb for this. But I guess it establishes damage control as even more of baby faces.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate as well. But andiyan naman si Io, di ba? She's
not in the tournament.
She's not in the tournament.
The Budokai is in the tournament.
And Io, you see Io yung pumalit kay... okay, maybe I'm just hearing things, but very unfortunate. But I hope she's okay. I hope Disha injured. That's why they did this angle. I hope it's for storyline reasons. And
all right. Nung sinabi ni Emil, he was hearing voices in his head. Kala ko tuloy, hala, kaya ka ba nagsasprock bigla sa mga Mga wrestler na nang-iinis sa'yo?
Hindi naman.
Speaking of wrestlers na nang-iinis kay Emil Nate, let's talk about Eddie Thorpe. Main event ng NXT, he and Trick Williams were in the NXT Championship match, and there was a double pin. You had two referees counting for both guys. All four shoulders were on the mat. So we ended NXT with Vic Joseph and Booker T arguing over who won the NXT Championship.
Yeah, it's not a good week for WWE refereeing. Like, what is happening? Like, what's it gonna do? I guess, yeah, obviously the finish was set up to, create ambiguity. But okay, I guess not the only positive I see is that Eddie Thorpe is now well entrenched now in the championship scene. So to Emil's chagrin here, ano na siya, contender na siya. And he is justified in complaining kasi he did have Trick's shoulders down, even though his own shoulders were down, diba? So at the very least, you should give this man another championship opportunity.
He's not justified. Kasi siya yung napin eh. His shoulders were also on the mat. But yeah,
But Eddie had his hand on Trick's midsection, which in this case also counts as a pin.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that when I watched NXT. But yeah, I've been liking this angle that they're doing. Clearly, like an Eddie Thorpe against Shawn Michaels against the Authority. Authority storyline. Because I think this is gonna be Eddie Thorpe's first major storyline ever since coming into NXT. And do I expect a future match? Not until Oba, I guess. Not until Oba Femi gets the title over Trick. But yeah, this was a good way to set up weeks of storyline.
Eto, Emil, di ba New Year's Eve ang magtatapat for the NXT Championship sina Trick and Oba Femi.
Yeah.
What if naging triple threat yon, tapos si Eddie Thorpe yung nanalo? Magsasprock ka ba?
I mean, no, because if he did it in such a way now, okay, it's legal, it's within the bounds of, of the rules of wrestling, okay, Nag-complain na naman ako kay Eddie Thorpe kasi, he was so whiny.
Wise kaya siya, di ba? In-explain nga niya sarili niya na, he was probably gonna lose Iron Survivor, so he just staged an attack. Hindi na nga siya napagod, di pa siya na-injure. And then may championship match pa siya.
But it didn't pay off, right?
It didn't pay off. He didn't lose.
He didn't lose.
Didn't win either, so didn't
lose.
All right.
Ito, magandang tanong ni Buezi. Who was the legal referee?
It's the guy on the right.
Yeah. Sorry, what? Who?
Yung referee, it was the guy on the right. Yung referee na nasa kanan on that picture. I think that was this guy. Yung hindi kalbo.
Si Adrian Butler.
Yeah.
Say it, Emil.
Zombie ref.
Say it. Who is he? Say it.
What was his he's the referee of the match, so he's the legal referee.
Yeah.
But anyways, pares naman din yung na-count sa 3 So either way.
Yeah, I hate it when
All right.
they make the referees, the refereeing
sorry.
crew look. Sorry, no, I was just saying that I hate it when they make the refereeing crew look kind of stupid. Diba? Pero it was one of those things na in kayfabe it happens.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's funny that you say that kasi diba here in the Philippines, lahat ng referees tinatawag nating bobo eh. Whether you're a player, a coach, or an audience member, referee equals bobo. Which is sad. The referees actually do honest work.
Yeah. Lalo na paglamang na yung
Tawa
kalaban.
ka, Emil. I'm sure you do that too.
Yeah.
I know Mark Cuban does.
All right. Last bit from NXT. Ethan Page says that he has lost his smile. And then sabi niya, dahil doon, you'll just take Javon Evans' smile. And then he proceeded to Pillmanize the kid.
I actually like this. If the whole idea is to make, if is to make Javon Evans quote unquote grow up, kasi masyado siyang diba, isip bata. Masyado pa siyang naive and happy-go-lucky as a young boy. then this is a much needed arc, and I think that Ethan Page is really good in this role. Like, okay, obviously, he's not being called up just yet, and we don't know when that's gonna happen, if it even needs to happen. Because I think NXT does need to thrive as a third brand. In I like it a lot. I think it's a great coming of age arc, if you will, for Javon Evans.
Um, I like this. I like this segment right here. It's so fitting. They did a lost my smile segment in the same building as the when the booker of the show did it the
Ito.
first time.
Doc G has a very great question in the chat. Is Ethan Page allowed to be in the locker room after this?
Hell no.
Ayun.
No, that is a
Entire.
brutal thing that he did. Now, if I was the locker room leader, I wouldn't welcome you in my locker room. So. but yeah, nakakatawa talaga yung NXT minsan, no? They are basically playing all the HBK's greatest hits when it comes to their storylines, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, it's just do notice it.
Here's the thing about that. It's if you were around 20 years ago and more to see all of HBK's greatest hits as they were happening, syempre makikita mo, di ba? Like, and especially if you have guys like me who will, clip the references for you and post it on our Facebook page, di ba? Syempre, magigets mo yun. And it's like dissecting the sample, diba? Hip hop sample. It's kind of like cluing you in. But for the most part, without those callbacks that fans who are in the know will do for you, it's entertaining an entire new generation of wrestling fans, diba? Like, who cares, diba? I don't care if a current modern song is sampling a song from 20 years ago. If it sounds good and if the beat hits well, then I'm not complaining. I think it's good. I think it's a good execution, and we haven't seen gore of this level in a long time. And I think a lot of people would or should be welcoming that, especially when they were asking, "Where's the blood? Where's all that stuff?" Diba? So I don't hate it. You're not supposed to, like, okay, if you know the reference, then you know the reference. You were around, diba? And there are people pointing that out to you, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. You're right, Emil. It doesn't make it a bad thing at all.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, sounds refreshing, but as we wait for him to come back, let's move on to AEW. We have a couple of points from AEW. Jasper, are you here? Yon. The Death Riders at the end of Collision last Sunday, Manila time, they've also now gone after FTR. And then FTR has now entered the feud. And they have said na, yes, in theory, on paper, agree kami sa Death Riders and their mission. But syempre, we don't like the way you do it. Like, you don't like the way you pour drain cleaner down Darby Allin's throat. Darby Allin ba yan?
Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy. Sorry. Yeah. And what do you think of this? What do you think of the story so far? I think it's a little more fleshed out now and a little clearer now after today's main event.
Yeah, I like this one better than when it's like the entire locker room, quote unquote, not like quote unquote jabronis. No, I'm just kidding. It's better to have an established team go after the Death Riders rather than the collective. Kasi sobrang labo when they did it the first time a few months ago. But now the direction of the storyline is clear. And at the end of that promo, FDR teased something, or teased that they're gonna bring someone into this story at some point, which a lot of people,
yeah, it's probably Cope.
People are expecting it to be Cope.
Yeah. I don't know if people have made this connection, but I think the Death Rider storyline is like AEW and John Moxley's take on Roman Reigns' bloodline. So, same idea siya. It's a group of people close to John Moxley. Moxley is the Roman in this story, and then they're running roughshod over the AEW locker room. Except in this case, in the AEW case, they fast forwarded yung story arc into the part where the rest of AEW bands together or tries to band together against the group. which only really happened to the Bloodline this year, diba? After 3 years of dominance, diba? So it's interesting here, and I think I like the way they're realistically telling a realistic story in that okay, yes, we understand that there's a threat, there's a major threat in the Death Riders and how John Moxley wants to clean up, quote unquote, AEW, but we're also so selfish that we can't we can't really band together and set aside our differences to effectively combat the threat, which happened in the main event of this week's Dynamite, diba? Where Hangman and Jay White couldn't get it together to, destroy John Moxley. So I think that's going to be the entire arc where the faces will have to find it in themselves to figure out how to work together and have their own finish the story moment eventually. It's just that it's not as prestigious, I think, because they're not telling it over the span of 3 years, diba? 4 years or so, diba? So I guess it depends on how you perceive the story, diba? If it's enough that you're doing this over the course of a few months, diba? If you want it to be long term or not. So yeah, that's my take on it. That's actually a pretty interesting thing that they're doing. I think it's more obvious, or it's more fleshed out and more detailed now than it was a few months ago.
Now that you said that, I'm thinking maybe at the end of this, it's gonna be the Elite who's gonna come to the rescue. By the end of this story, because Matt and Nick have been away for a while.
Hindi mas lalong dysfunctional sila, diba?
Yun nga, yun pa nga. But I feel like now with everything, I feel like it's basically a setup. It's not gonna be Orange Cassidy as much as I would like it to be. Who's gonna be the one finishing the story?
Really? Because I thought it was like a coming of age story for Orange Cassidy. Then
it should be, yeah, it should be, honestly. But with the way things are going, I think it's the Elite now at some point.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next point. Okay, this is an interesting thing. Ricochet has been made to look like a chump in the hands of the Hurt Syndicate and Swerve Strickland. So, do you agree that Ricochet looks like a chump?
Oh, definitely. After those 2 segments that he appeared in today's Dynamite, nagmukha siyang and it's weird because I thought he was trying to be the franchise player according to his interviews and his tweets. I thought he was trying to be, okay, I'm the number 1 guy now in AEW, and then he gets punked out by the Hurt Syndicate. And so maybe they're trying something new here. Maybe that didn't work, and now they're trying this. I don't even know if this is a comedy character, pero yun yung lumalabas eh. Mas instead of mainis ako, natatawa ako sa kanya eh. Natatawa ako sa character niya, and that thing that he does at the end of the promos now, like are we supposed to laugh at him, or are we supposed to like boo him? So it's conflicting for me at this point.
I guess it depends on how you perceive or how you approach awkward people. Like, kung naiinis ka sa mga awkward na tao, then syempre dapat kainisan mo siya. But I don't know. I think they're letting him quote unquote cook, and this is his idea of cooking, diba? I don't think there's a grand scheme in all of this. I think he's just trying stuff. Tapos, I'm sure TK saw that and is like, last mo na yan, wag mo na ulitin yan. So I would hope so, because I don't think they would be intentionally trying to make him look like a weirdo, especially after the way he was, acting like a dick. Or hindi naman dick, pero nagyayabang siya ng konti in his first few months in AEW. So, I don't know. It's interesting. And there's also a second point here. After the match with the Beast Mortos, the Hurt Syndicate challenged Daniel Garcia to come out because I think that's Shelton Benjamin's next match. And now I think they've started the title chase. They're going back to Hurt Syndicate all belts again by having Shelton Benjamin chase the TNT Championship. So what do you think of this?
I like this. I like this one because Shelton has shown so much greatness ever since coming into AEW, and giving him a TNT title run to establish his dominance. I'm actually happy na hindi lang gun si Shelton Benjamin dito sa Hurt Syndicate. Na he's not there to put over people, but he's there to dominate, just like Bobby Lashley. And a way to assert that is to have him win the TNT Championship or have him go after the TNT Championship, which I'm really liking here.
Stan, are you back?
Yes, Stan, hello.
I don't think he's there.
I'm not sure kung fully back na ako. I'm still lagging here on my end. So kayo muna.
All right. So guys, let's go to a quick break before we move on to our last points about ROH Final Battle. Yes, that is happening on Saturday, Manila time, and there are some big news from it. But before that, let's hear from our fellow podcast on the Pod Network. Okay, Final Battle is happening on Saturday, Manila time, but we're only predicting one match from the card because I think there's only really one match that people care about at this point. Not to diss any of the hard workers on ROH, but the biggest match is the one they're selling, diba? Which is Chris Jericho versus Matt Cardona for the ROH World Championship. It should be noted that Tony Khan is actively shopping Ring of Honor for a TV deal. So that's why Chris Jericho is the champion again. Diba? So, but is ROH still lucrative if the champion happens to be Matt Cardona?
Especially to the TV executives. I think Chris Jericho kasi it's more of a household name. I don't think they would have the same pull if, let's say, Matt Cardona was the champion. Because, yes, Matt Cardona is a a former WWE guy, but he's not he's not as famous. Let's just say that he's not as famous as Chris Jericho. So if TK is actively shopping ROH for TV deal, might as well keep it keep it safe and have Jericho retain if that's what he's trying to do. That's the end goal here is to score a TV deal.
The thing working against Cardona right now is that obviously hindi siya signed to AEW, diba? Because he's the indie god and he wants to be as free as possible to make his indie dates. And I think he is more long term with GCW. So the problem with that is that it kind of makes the booking obvious. Na kung hindi ka naman signed to the company, then why would we make you the champion? Diba? Unless Cardona is actually signing a deal and then he gets to win the championship. But barring that, I don't think that's happening either. I think Jericho's retaining anyway.
Yeah, I think same thing too. I just see Cardona as a guest here, like just a one-off, and Jericho retains.
All right, let's move on to our last point. We have the main event of Final Battle is the ROH Women's World Championship between Billy Starks and Athena. We don't have this in the slides, but it is.
Bro, you're on mute.
Sorry. It is going to be the main event of Hammerstein. It is historic because I believe it is the first ever women's main event for a world championship in the Hammerstein Ballroom. And it's huge because Athena has been the longest reigning champion in ROH for the past 2 years. And
Wow.
even though Chris Jericho is the biggest name, Athena has been the pillar of the company, of the brand. So, do you think that they deserve the spot?
Yes, definitely. This has been the best storyline in Ring of Honor in the last year. And this has been going on since last year pa eh. Kasi, last year pa nag-start yung, it started as a mentorship, di ba? With Athena taking Billy Starks in as her protege, and now they're main eventing Final Battle. So if they are main eventing, then well deserved. I hope this main events. And for the prediction, I think it's time for Billy Starks to win the title, because I think that ito naman yung patutunguhan itong story na to when they first started teaming up together last year. So this is Billy Starks' time. So I'm going with Billy Starks.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad idea. It is the finishing the story moment. It just sucks that it was, kind of tucked away in ROH and hindi siya masyadong the feature. But if you are an ROH fan, then it will pay dividends for you, diba? Especially if you're a Billy Starks fan. So I think it's safe to predict a Billy Starks win. Right, that's it for our talk points for this week on the live stream. Thank you so much for joining us once again. We loved having you here in the last official live stream. Hindi naman last, pero this is the last live stream where we'll talk about the current events.
Yeah.
Next week is the last official live stream of the Wrestling podcast for 2024, and we will be doing our year-end awards for the first time ever on the live stream. So if you are at home on the 26th of December, if you have nothing to do, if you want some post-Christmas entertainment, if you're hungover or eating the holiday leftovers, join us, and we will be ranking our top and bottom moments of 2024. So we'll see you there, Facebook and YouTube, as always, 7 p.m. at the Wrestling podcast. Emil, you got any plugs?
Lenaman, just follow the podcast on all the social media platforms. Subscribe to Patreon and Gang.
Right. Tagay na by World Underground Wrestling Philippines is coming out soon on video on demand. I don't know when exactly, but I think it's going to come out before the year ends. I think hopefully in time for yung holiday inumans nyo, diba? So it was the show from last June, and it's only coming out on VOD now. So if you missed it, I think it's going to come to you at a really, really affordable price. Go catch that and support your local wrestling. Just go to I think it's dexcon.helixpay.ph as always. No new Unmasked episodes this week yet. Life has gotten in the way once more, but go check that out as well. Unmasked: The Chronicles of Romaran and Sandata. And for other VODs, you got dexcon.helixpay.ph and pusowrestling.helixpay.ph. I believe the Pusong Pinoy VOD is coming out really, really soon as well. So go stay tuned for that. Right. Thank you again. If you want to add to the conversation, you can go follow us at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter, Blue Sky, and TikTok at Wrestling Podcast on Instagram and Threads, and the Wrestling Podcast on Facebook. For my co-host, it's at Emil_Meister for Emil, at _Stancy for Stan, at Monday Night Rowan, NITE for Rowan ASH, at Chino Supersized for Chino, at Ro is War for myself on Twitter and Blue Sky, and at Shang.Daddy for myself on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. Thank you once again to the good boys and girls, to the babyface producer Jasper of the Podnet for making us sound as great as we do, and even better sometimes. As always, happy holidays to all of you guys. We'll see you guys for our final WWP Reminiscences over on Monday, but syempre we won't see you then. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Merry Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating. And next week na tayo mag Happy New Year, all right? We're out of here. Wrestling Podcast out. Peace.